Welcome back, everyone, to BBB Sharing. I'm Evie, Director of Ignite, sparked by BBB. And with me today, I have a very special guest that I've known for quite a while now, met through Ignite, and I see her on almost all of our Spark conversations. She is also going to be one of the authors at December 16th Spark Conversation, Sorana Blackfoot.
Thank you so much, Evie, for having me.
Thank you. Now, I only know about the one book that you wrote, and it is Money Makeup Madness, or Money Madness Makeover.
Money Mindset
Money
Makeover.
Mindset Makeover. That's right. Too many M's for me, Sorana. I'm going to remember it. Don't
I
worry.
like alliterations. What can I say?
I loved it. What I remember the most was the cover, because the cover has a really chic looking woman and she looks amazing. And I'm like, I want to be her.
Well, you can.
I can. And you talk about that a lot. Every time I meet you, you talk about wanting to empower people and having them be more comfortable with their finances. So what is it that you do?
Well, I do a lot of things in the financial industry. So pretty much, I guess, soup to nuts. So I like to teach people about money mindset because all the strategies are good, except at some point you're going to get stuck if your mindset is not in the right place. Yeah. So I like to start with that and then talk strategy. And when it comes to strategy, I can help with taxes. I can help with making sure people are protected with life insurance and also making sure they save for retirement, because retirement is a big problem in the United States because people don't save for retirement.
Yeah, they don't.
So I like to educate people on why they should care about all of those things, but also once they figure out what they need, and that's a big deal, they have to understand what's going on, not just do it because I say so. And once they figure all of that stuff out and they understand, then I help them with the actual things they need to do. I help with the action part, not just the theory. It's not about, hey, let me tell you about this and now go figure it out.
Yeah.
Or, you have this issue because most people have this issue and now go figure it out. So I can actually help them with all that. And I'm very passionate about making sure they understand what's going on and not just telling them what's good for them or things that they need to figure out.
I think you also mentioned this at one of the other Spark conversations that we had. It's very personal and it's very individualistic when it comes to people dealing with their finances and their money and what they want to do with it. And with your background, you come from Romania. What is your mindset on money that you notice is very different from people here in the States?
Well, I get asked a lot about what's different or how is it here compared to there, depending on whatever the situation is regarding everything, not just money. And the one thing I tell everybody is that everything is different. Yeah. So when it comes to money, everything is different. Now, I've been here for a little over 20 years, so obviously I know the things that used to be before I moved here versus what's going on currently. In Romania, things have changed. But growing up there, I never knew what a credit card was. Yeah. Well, I've seen it in the movies and stuff, but I didn't have actual experience with it. We never had anything like credit history or credit score or things like that. So when I moved here, I had to learn about all of that. And also, we never filed taxes. So I really didn't understand what that means and why you got to do that, because obviously you have a job, you're paying taxes anyway. So what's the big deal? Why are you doing extra paperwork after the fact? So all of those things were very different, and I had to learn them.
One of the things that, and you're right, the whole credit card, growing up in Greece in the summer times, I was so used to using cash. Anywhere in Europe, it was always cash. And then all of a sudden, people were using debit cards. And I was like, I don't have a debit
what's
card.
that?
Like, I'm used to using cash here. But you're right. The mindset is different, like money-wise in Europe than it is here in the States. Here, it almost seems like people are always chasing their tails when it comes to their finances.
Well, first of all, one thing that I have noticed during my years, because I've been doing this for a long time, so I've come across a lot of people.
Yeah, you have a lot of experience with it.
So what I've noticed is that most people are not where they want to be. Now, sometimes they may be better off than they think they are, but they're still dissatisfied. And I always talk about the financial situation like the weight situation for most people, because most people feel they have too much of one and not enough of the other. So wherever they are, right? People always want to be skinnier, taller, stuff like that. They're not okay with the way they look. And with the money, it's the same thing. If they have money, they feel they don't have enough. If they have debt, they feel they have too much. So they're never really okay. But sometimes when you take a deep breath and just kind of look at where you are, you may feel better about where you are. For instance, somebody, let's say, that has student loans, which is a big problem in the United States. Okay, it's terrible you have 100 grand or whatever your student loans are, but the benefit of having that, even though it's not a good thing per se, because you don't want to have that debt, but now you have a career that you can do something with where you can produce that money. Now, ideally, you should make that money within a shorter period of time and not pay down your student loans by the time you're 60. But that's a bigger issue, and with all of the higher education costs and all of that. But when you have any kind of debt, or let's say maybe you have a mortgage and you feel like, oh my God, my mortgage is this much and all that. Okay, it's not cool to owe that, but it is cool to have a house. So you start kind of looking at it a little bit differently versus hating on your debt or hating on whatever you feel you don't have. And you feel like, okay, well, I took on this debt because I wanted this. And even bad debt, right? America has a big credit card problem. But if you really think about what did that do for you? Because you use that for something. Maybe you used it for your health. Maybe you used it to buy things you enjoy. So if you feel bad about, okay, I bought this dress that I used at this one function and maybe never wore it again, but now I'm paying the credit card bill. Okay, it's not good. You need to hurry up and pay it because you don't want to pay that interest. However, don't feel bad about having the dress. Enjoy it, because now if you feel bad about it, you bringing all of this bad juju to you, because now you're feeling bad about the debt and you're feeling bad about the dress, so you're not even grateful for whatever the money provided to you.
It's bringing more negative energy into the money that you've already spent to begin with.
Right.
And I do agree with having good debt and bad debt. My parents always talk about this. They have good debt, right? Even the most wealthy people in the world have debt. They're in billions of dollars of debt. But it's good debt.
Right. And most people will need to have it because they can't buy a house putting all the money down. Most people. Now, there are some that probably can. Or if they want a nicer car. And I'm not saying like buy a Lamborghini if you can't afford a Lamborghini. But if you want a nice car, nowadays it costs about as much as a house used to cost. So you can't really necessarily have the money. Maybe you do. Great. Then don't pay interest. Pay the car off. But if you don't, still get a good car versus buying a piece of junk that is going to last a year or two, But also don't keep that debt for a long time. Try to get rid of it, but don't feel bad about having it. It's like somebody that maybe wants to lose weight and now they eat a piece of cake and now they feel guilty for eating the piece of cake. So now they hate on the cake. They hate on themselves for being weak to eat the cake. And now their body starts having all sorts of other issues because of all of this negative stuff that they're putting in themselves.
Instead of shifting your mindset and saying, okay, I ate the cake, that wasn't a good move, but I can maybe bounce back and go to the gym or go for a walk and try to make it better. And start again the next day.
Do an action that helps with mitigating the bad thing, but don't feel bad for making that decision because maybe that was something you enjoyed. So the same, if you have a car, like for me, I've been self-employed for a long time, and a lot of my career entailed going places by myself. So I could never have a bad car because I didn't want to be stranded on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. So I had to be very aware that I need to get a good car that's not going to die on me on the side of the road. I also drive a lot, so that car needs to have good mileage for the gas because otherwise I'll be spending a fortune in gas. So you have to think about, okay, maybe I paid more than somebody that got a different kind of car, but I was safe. And I didn't put a whole lot of money in the fixing of the car because it was a good car. So you have to think of what your priorities are, and then you plan around that instead of saying, oh, I'm not going to buy more car than I can pay off, or I'm not going to buy more house than I have money in my account or whatever. You have to still make the decision based on whatever you actually want to have. But also don't think, okay, I want a good car, so I'm going to buy a Ferrari. Because you don't need a Ferrari. Now, if you can afford a Ferrari,
That's
okay,
different.
but don't stretch yourself to the Ferrari and now you can't afford a piece of pizza.
I was going to ask you, do you ever come across situations where people almost have like a keeping up with the Joneses? Like,
Oh, yeah, it's a national disease.
it is. And that's why I asked it. So I was wondering, at what point do you like look at, one of your customers, your clients, and say, okay, why is it you want that to be your goal? Are you doing it for yourself, or are you doing it because you want to show to somebody else? And how is that going to help you financially in the future?
Well, I believe that you have to think about your why to achieve anything. Because whatever you want, if it's worth something, it's usually not very easy to get. Right? Let's say you want a bigger business or a better career or whatever. It's not going to be, a piece of cake, I just show up and that's it. So if you have to work for whatever it is that you want to achieve, usually the stronger your reason for doing it is, the more you're willing to put into it, more effort, more time, more whatever. So it's the same with wanting to achieve financial goals, right? You have to think about what is that going to do for you, right? A lot of people know about We FM, what's in it for me. So if you want to have $1 million, which if you ask 100 people, probably 50 of them, that's a goal, whether or not they feel that it's realistic, whether or not they even feel they deserve it, or that is something that they actually really want, but that's the first thing that's going to come out of their mouth, just because it's such a popular thing to say. So if that's your goal, okay, why? Because yes, you can make $1 million, but also you're not just going to show up and people are going to throw money at you and you're going to end up with $1 million at the end of the day. So if that's your goal, you have to figure out why you want that. How is that going to help you? Because that's going to be your motivation. Because today, maybe you get up and if you sell stuff or you work in a job or whatever, maybe you get a raise, maybe you get a bonus, maybe you sell more things, whatever. But tomorrow may not work like that. So then if tomorrow is a bad day for you, then are you just packing up your stuff and forget about the $1 million? Or are you going to just kind of power through whatever obstacles and then still work towards your $1 million? So if you don't have a real good reason to want whatever that goal is, whether it's financial goal, business goal, life goal, whatever, it's not going to keep you motivated, right? We're talking about the piece of cake. So if you eat the piece of cake because maybe you're weak in the moment, maybe that cake just looks good, maybe you're just celebrating something and you want to celebrate with a piece of cake, okay. But if your why for losing the weight or for having whatever body shape you want to aim for or whatever is strong, then even though you eat the cake, then you'd get back on track with what the things that you need to do to achieve whatever that goal was with your weight, with your body, whatever.
That makes sense. Do you have any specific events or any type of meetups that you have going on for people? Because I know you do some things for free. I don't like using the word free, but you offer some of your services because you want to help other people. Do you have anything going on for the rest of this year in 2024 or anything coming up in 2025?
I do. Well, yes, I do a lot of free events because they're educational and I want people to know this stuff. Now, the purpose of these events is not to cure everything and have people walk out of there, oh, I know everything, now I'm going to be a millionaire by tomorrow. But the purpose is to start a conversation, to help people think about some things that maybe they didn't think about, to have them be a little bit more aware of what's going on with their finances, and to help them be more comfortable even talking about it. Because unfortunately, money is a taboo subject.
Yeah.
So I do have an event actually on December 5th. It's called Never Divorce Your Money. And that's for anybody that may be going through a divorce or is at the end of it or maybe thinking about it or is separated and now trying to figure out the next steps. Or even maybe they are not in a relationship, but they're thinking, okay, but if I'm getting in this relationship, then what is going to happen? What does that really look like for me? So I want to have that conversation because people don't know what they don't know. And that's the whole point. When I post on social media, I always call it food for thought because it's just stuff that you need to think about. Now, if you choose to do anything about it or not, then that's up to everybody. But if you at least are aware of some things that maybe you didn't think about, maybe now you're ready to start thinking about them. And then into the new year, we're getting back on track with a signature event that I host monthly called Wine, Women, and Wealth. And if anybody wants to check all of these out, I always post them on Eventbrite, and it's under my company name, Unbroke Women. So if you look for Unbroke Women on Eventbrite, you can find all the events there and all the free tickets.
Perfect. And also, please don't forget to go on Amazon, or where else do you sell Money Mindset Makeover? I got it right this time.
Did. It's available on Amazon in both print form and ebook. I do have it available for retailers, so if anybody wants to purchase it, there is through Ingram Spark is the company that has the print version. But I don't know if anybody listening to us is a store owner or somebody that sells books, but anybody that actually wants to just buy it as retail already, Amazon is probably the best place.
Perfect. And Sorana, thank you so much for coming in. I had a great time talking to you. You are a wealth of information. So people, if you want to learn more about what Sorana has to say, please come to December 16th. She is going to be one of our experts there, and she's going to have her books on display as well. All the authors are going to have books on their display and be able to sell them to you all. So please make sure to sign up for that and check out Sorana's social media. Unbroke Women is the name of your company, right?
Correct. The company is Unbroke Women, and my name is Sorana Blackfoot, and you can find me on Facebook, LinkedIn, all of the places where everybody else hangs out.
Perfect. Yeah, right where everybody else hangs out. And if you're on YouTube, where a lot of people hang out, please make sure to follow us, subscribe, share, like it, and comment down below. Really helps the algorithm out. Our YouTube channel is BBB Central VA. And if you are listening on Spotify, it's BBB Sharing. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, Evie.